Alright, Alvarado here, going to do another one of those gun videos, the aesthetic firearm videos. This time I'm going to be looking at a gun that's a little bit more modern, and in fact influenced a lot of modern firearms. And that firearm is the Walther P-38. This gun is, of course, unloaded. There's your magazine. And, of course, I've checked it, but just so that nobody gets concerned or nervous, the gun is completely empty. This gun, this is the second Walther P-38 that I've owned. I made the mistake of selling the other one. Well, actually, I traded it for another gun, which is kind of how I do a lot of things with these things, because you can't afford to have them all. So, you know, let me move that book so the cat's eating the bookmark. Anyway, so this gun is actually a late war production. It is one of those with the CVQ from, I believe, Czechoslovakia. A company called CYQ did it, or made this pistol. From what I've been able to figure out, if I'm correct, looking at the serial number, this gun is, I'm figuring this was made around April of 45. And if you look carefully, you can see the little letters there for the manufacturer. The Y does not appear to me to be complete. Maybe I'm mistaken. It looks like a CVQ, but maybe could be a CY, but with a very short tail on the Y. Yeah, okay. And those of you who know firearms probably also know this is the first double action military sidearm that was ever used. It's also got a pretty cool feature here. It's got a loaded chamber indicator, which is pretty modern too. And of course, it's, you know, so it's a double action. It only held 8 rounds, you know, 9mm, of course, but just a really graceful looking weapon. And again, so this gun was made in 45. Now the magazine on this firearm is unmarked. This is which came with it. I have another magazine over here. This one is a Walther, but it was made in like 1959. So like probably, you know, West Germany, you know, magazine issued out. I got this, I think, on eBay or something. I got the pistol on Gunbroker, actually. Bid on it because I wanted to replace the other one that I had made the mistake of getting rid of. Anything else interesting about the firearm? Of course, it's got the Bakelite grips, all original, really nice. It is import marked here. Very hard to read the markings, but it is import marked. Somebody, looks like California, NHM company, I think. Anyway, so it does have import marks. I would say this, again, is probably a Russian capture. It's hard to know, but the serial number on the slide is different than the serial number here. The original serial number on the firearm, it's been stamped out. The other one that I had was also a Russian capture, but it was in a lot better shape as far as the finish, again, primarily because the finish was just flawless on the other pistol. But so this one's, the finish is pretty rough on this, which I guess these CVQ guns, because they're, you know, at the very end of the war, if this pistol, if I figured it out correctly, was made, say, around April, maybe March of 1945. I mean, the war is on its last footing. This gun probably was captured by the Russians. Probably, who knows if they even saw combat? You know, it was captured probably right away. I mean, the gun was made, and then the war was over in, you know, like a month and a half or whatever. So there's no telling, you know, or was it the Volkssturm, or who knows, right? So there's all this history behind this, again, this weapon. And it is interesting, if you look at the finish again, you can see the metal working, the rough finish of it. You know, it's very rough. But even when you compare it to modern firearms, I mean, if this was the Germans doing their worst, or, you know, in the most rush, this is still a very nicely made, very solid, you know, firearm. I just fell in love with these two. Again, I was introduced to these weapons. Of course, I think James Bond may have used something like this in one of the guns, or it was, I mean, you know, in one of his films, or somebody did. You know, I can't remember where I was first introduced to it, but where I remember for sure that I was introduced to it again was the gun I mentioned, the book that I mentioned last time, which is the book Guns and How They Work. And so there's this big double-page layout of the Walther P-38. And of course, when I was a kid, I was like, man, that's a really cool looking firearm. To me, it looks really balanced, and again, very aesthetically just pleasing. Just an aesthetically pleasing firearm. What a beautiful thing. And of course, those of you who know, this also replaced another firearm, which is a legend, which is the P-08, the Luger. This replaced it essentially. And of course, the Luger is a firearm I've never owned because their prices are ridiculous, like really expensive with firearms. But this is again the second Walther, and I like them. I don't think I would ever carry this in any way, in any sort of like combat, or I'm going to go out, in the apocalypse with it. I wouldn't be my first choice. I have this primarily just because of the history, of this type of firearm. Who knows the story, where it was, what it did, where it's floated through. Again, this gun is from 1945. I'm pretty sure that's at least right. Again, it also forgot to mention that it has a 4 serial number here that matches the slide. So it's stamped on here 0. So, the same number that I have that it has on the slide. So they forced it to match after they had obliterated the original numbers which were located here. But again, it's just an aesthetically pleasing weapon. When you hold it in your hand, it feels very nice, very balanced weapon. So it's nice to shoot. It has very little recoil. It's also there's nothing other than the Bakelite grips. There is nothing on this that's not made out of steel. This is a well-made German-engineered gun designed to fight in combat. So pretty cool. So anyway, that's my second firearm. I will be doing another one soon. I hope everybody enjoys these. Again, something a little different. From my usual stuff. There's some of the proof marks they use. They used a U on these, if you're interested in that kind of stuff. I'm not going to take it apart or nothing fancy, just to show you the basics here. But very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Very simple weapon. There you go. And there you go. All right. Alvarado out. I'll see you in the next video. All right, everybody take care and have a wonderful day, wonderful evening. Alvarado out.